Hello everyone and welcome back to another YouTube video. So I am sorry for not uploading a lot because I was at Mexico for a while and it really made things difficult for me to upload videos and such. I regularly only was uploading like YouTube shorts and such, but I'm back. I'm back here, back in my room, back playing my games and stuff. But yeah. So I did say I was gonna make a video saying about what happened on when I was coming to Mexico, but that video never came out. I did record it and stuff, but then I tried to upload it, but the Wi-Fi in Mexico kind of sucks and it's not the best, so I had to backstock the video for a while, and at this point, now because I'm home, I'm taking the opportunity to make the video now. So, sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, and let's get right into the video. So, our first thing in the morning, I wake up, it's every day, like all the time, everything's going normal and such, and nothing's wrong. I wake up, get myself ready, and then after I sit, waiting for my parents to get ready, and then we prepare to go. So then we head out to the airport. I think it was somewhere around early in the morning, I guess, kind of. I'm not. It was like probably maybe 6 in the morning or something like that. I don't remember the exact time the flight departed at. But if I'm correct, the flight left like at 10. The flight was supposed to leave at 10. But before we get into like the plane and stuff, we'll talk about the trip there. So we're over there heading to the airport in our car. It's kind of foggy because by at the time it was we still were getting some scattered clouds and stuff, but we weren't getting any rain. So then we're taking the road and stuff. I see a nice looking Corvette. No, it wasn't a Corvette. I saw a nice looking white Lamborghini that was about 2 lanes down, but it was like ahead of us by a little bit. And I'm like, whoa, that's a nice looking Lamborghini. I don't regularly see exotic cars all the time because, I mean, I never get to go to car meets most of the time because either I'm mostly focused on making videos or playing games and such. So, yeah, most of that. So, I told my dad, look, it's a Lamborghini on the road. And he's like, nice. And then we continue with our road trip, obviously. Well, it's not technically a road trip. We're just going to the airport. So every time we go to Mexico, we always stop by the nearby McDonald's that is near the airport. So we were going to go grab ourselves some egg McMuffins and stuff, or if I'm saying it right, I'm not sure. But so we got off the freeway to go get our food, but we realized that the McDonald's that we usually grab our food at has been demolished because that McDonald's was getting a full renovation or free or whatever they call it. And so I'm like, well, now what are we gonna get to eat? Later, before I knew it, we ended up looking if there was any nearby McDonald's in the area, and apparently there was a McDonald's inside of a Walmart. So we head to that area, and it wasn't that far away. So we go, we see that there's a McDonald's inside, and we go grab our order and we go order our food and stuff. So we're sitting there waiting for our food, but our food takes about at least 30 minutes to like 40 minutes just to get out from the kitchen and into the hands of my parents. So I was pretty impatient because I mean I was very hungry because I wanted to eat, but the wait was worth it. And then after we eat our food and stuff, and after we finished all of our food, we head back in the car, and then we go continue so we can go to the airport. So we get into the line so you can enter Mexico because there's a border. Um, there's obviously a border between Mexico and California. So we were in the line waiting to cross to be in Mexico at that point. After we passed that area, we're in Mexico at 10. We're technically in Mexico because we crossed the border. I'm not sure how things work like that, but I guess you could say that we were in Mexico when we crossed. So then we got into then we were in a little bit of traffic, but then we looked for the best way to get to the airport, and then we get into one of the routes to get to the airport. So then I'm sitting there in the car waiting so we can arrive at the airport. I see a lot of planes making our way to the airport. My dad drops me, my sister, and my mom off at the airport. Meanwhile, my dad goes to find a area so he can pay to park the car. After about 25-ish minutes, my dad came back in a taxi to the airport. I was sitting on the floor looking at my laptop, just thinking of things I was gonna be doing when I was staying at Mexico and all that fun stuff. So I was just doing stuff, and then I was also just watching YouTube videos. So I sit. After after we're all done, we go to check in our bags. We check them in, everything's smooth. So then we head over to the security. Everything is smooth, nothing happens to me or anything like that. But my sister did get checked for something in her bag, I guess, something related to makeup, I'm not sure. But they let us go and stuff. So then we head to supposedly where the airplane was supposed to be arriving at, but apparently they switched gates. So then we head to another gate where the airplane was, and then that's when we were told by my parents that the flight was delayed by an hour and 30 minutes. So I'm like, well, that's the first problem that came around during our trip. We already have a delayed flight. How fun is that? So instead of our flight departing at 10:30 like it was supposed to, it departed around 11 to like at 11:25. I'm not sure, somewhere around that time. And so obviously I was kind of annoyed that we had delays, but they happen all the time. So in the meantime, while I was waiting, I was playing some games and such, and then we go get some Domino's pizza that was in the airport so we can have food and not have to stop anywhere after we arrived at Mexico to eat. So after that, our plane arrives. Surely nothing's gonna go wrong after we board the plane and take off, right? Well, a few things. Obviously, because the flight was delayed, there was probably going to be a little bit of angry passengers, but not really, there wasn't any. So the line was obviously long because I think the flight was almost fully booked, so that was something. And then after that, after a few minutes of sitting on the ground, then we started to push back and prepare for takeoff. We take off, everything's going normal, nothing's wrong and such. Everything seems to be normal. We're about halfway through our flight. We're almost about to start descent into Guadalajara, until the pilot comes on the intercom of the aircraft and says, "Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be having an emergency landing because there is a passenger having a medical emergency on board. We are sorry for the inconvenience. We will be diverting to Mazatlan." So technically, there was a passenger that had a medical emergency that we had to ended up diverting to Mazatlan. So I mean, well, I've never in my life of flying, I've never thought that I would be able to witness me being in a diversion to another airport because that's never happened to me. So I'm like, well, that's a first. So then we land at Mazatlan. Then we sit there for a little. We sit there for at least an hour and a half, I think, or it was probably more. I'm not sure. Might be less. I don't really remember anymore. But then we sit there for a little bit. The passenger gets deplaned and gets taken away in an ambulance. I was hoping in my mind. I really hope that passenger is okay because I really don't hope that something bad happens to them. I really hope they are okay and stuff. But later, before I knew it, after the passenger was deplaned, they closed the door, and but we still had to stay on the ground because for a little bit the airplane was getting refueled and stuff. And my sister went to go grab. My sister went to see if they could get a drink or something like that, and they were offering complimentary drinks because of the unexpected mishap that happened. So my sister got a Coke. I got a manzanita, or a mantet is what some people call it in Mexico, but I like to call it manzanita. But so I drink my manzanita because I'm like, finally I have at least something to drink for this like leftover 40 minutes of the flight. After we're already pushing back and heading off to the runway, then we start to take off. Everything's normal. We're all good. So, yeah. Then a few minutes later, or a couple minutes later, then we land at Guadalajara. It's nighttime. The plane was supposed to arrive during sunset, I think, but because of the in-flight emergency, we ended up landing at night. So it was kind of a questionable experience, but yeah. Then we landed. Then I'm like, okay, well, it's time to start off a 4-month trip in Mexico. So yeah, we landed, we deboarded and stuff, and yeah, my dad's brother comes and he picks us up and all that good stuff. And then supposedly we thought that we would have enough room in his car to fit all of our checked bags and stuff. But no, it appeared that only the large pieces of the luggage were able to fit. So we had to have 3 pieces of large, or not large. We had to have 3. We had to have 3 suitcases that were on the overhead bins, put on top of me, my mom, and my sister. My dad was in the front with his brother, next to his brother, and stuff. So I'm like, oh my god, this is hurting me because the wheel of one of the luggages were poking me and it was hurting. So I had to move a little bit to get it off. Eventually, we stopped at one of the offices of one of my dad's other brothers, and that brother lended us a car so we can use in the duration of the time we stayed. So then we put all the luggage in there. That time we were able to fit all of the luggage except for one that was able to go in the middle of the seat instead. So I'm like, at least I can finally relieve myself and not deal with having a heavy bag on me, pressuring me, that's making it difficult for me to move around. So now we talked about about everything of the flight to Mexico. Now let's talk about the flight back to the US. So the flight back was something, I'll tell you that. So when we arrived at the airport, the flight was delayed for like an hour, and then the flight kept getting delayed and delayed and delayed, and the flight was eventually delayed for 3 hours and 30 minutes. And surprisingly, there was another flight of Viva Aerobus that was also heading to the same location, but it was in a larger plane on an Airbus A321, and there was a lot more passengers, so I assumed that was a fully booked flight. But my question was, why did that flight arrive sooner than the flight that we were supposed to go on, because the flight that we were supposed to go on was supposed to depart at 9 p.m. That flight that came in that was also going to the same destination came later. But if the flight was not delayed by 3 hours, we would have already departed, and that flight would have been the next flight to take passengers to Tijuana. So I was very annoyed that, I was annoyed that because I would have to wait still a while before a flight arrived. And I'm like, come on, talk about having a great start to my night. And then eventually the plane arrives and stuff. We board the aircraft. The plane was fully booked, I guess, and we had to get our checked-in bags until like lowered into the bottom of the plane because there was no more room left. So we ended up giving those to the gate agents to put underneath the plane in the cargo area, and yeah. And surprisingly, I'll tell you guys this: the flight to the flight that we took, I was going to suppose that we were going to fly on a different plane with a whole completely different call sign, but it appears no. The same plane that took us from Tijuana to Guadalajara is taking us back from Guadalajara to Tijuana. So I'm like, what are the chances of flying the same plane twice? So then obviously I had to put all my bags and stuff underneath the seat in front of me, and dang, I really thought the leg room was gonna be a little bit the way I expected it to be on the last time I was flying, but the leg room was a little bit more cramped. So it really made it hard for me to sleep by that time on the plane because it was a very uncomfortable position that I had to sit in. And consider that Viva Aerobus is a low-cost Mexican airline, and obviously low-cost airlines barely give you any leg room. So that's obviously an issue. So then after a while, then we push back and then we take off. Then I tried to do my best to get the most amount of sleep, but before I went to sleep, I started to work on some liveries for my airline and stuff before I closed my computer and tried to sleep. I know my computer was on airplane mode, so don't be actually did you put on airplane mode, because that's unsafe or whatever. Yes, I did put on airplane mode. But the thing was that after takeoff, I really had a trouble time trying to sleep because of the cramped space I was in. I tried to go through angle, but I could only sleep for at least a few minutes in that position. I tried to pull out the trade table and stuff, also didn't help a bit. It only helped me sleep for a few minutes. I ended up just sitting straight up, and I tried to make the best of it. And then eventually, after a while of the flight going by, then I start to feel the plane descend. So my brain's instinct is to wake up and prepare for landing. So then we get the announcement from the captain that, ladies and gentlemen, we're only a few minutes away from landing. Please make sure everything is put away and stuff, and blah, yada, yada, yada. So then I'm over here. Finally, I can finally go home and sleep in my comfortable bed again and start playing games on my PC once more. So I was happy that we were finally coming in to land. The landing itself was pretty smooth, not that hard, not that weird and stuff. And after we landed, our instinct was to hurry up, grab our bags from the little conveyor belts or whatever those things are called, or the baggage pickup. I really forgot the name of it already. And then we grab our bags and stuff, and then we grab a taxi to head out to the parking lot where my dad parked the car. And then we get to the parking lot, we pay the taxi driver and stuff. And then I look at our car. Our car is literally turned from almost our car was literally red, bright red when we left it off. And when we returned, the car was covered in dust. It was brown. The car didn't even look like it was our car at that point. I was shocked. I'm like, dang, well, this car's been through something. And then my dad paid the guy that was or the people that work for the parking lot, and then he pays, and then I'm like, oh my god, man, this is so much of traveling, and I'm still very tired because by the time our flight arrived, it was about 2 a.m. and the next it was already 2 a.m. the next day. So I'm like, dang, I really won't be able to get enough sleep. So then we head off to the borderline. We cross the border, no problems. Then I'm over there questioning, like, dang, why does everything have to happen so fast, and why does the worst have to happen? And then after we cross the border, then obviously straight on from there, we're heading to our house because we just wanted to sleep. So obviously I knew that our house is pretty far away from the airport, so I settled in for a long drive. A few hours go by and we're already arriving at the house. By that time it was already 4 in the morning. Note that the flight was supposed to arrive the flight was still supposed to arrive at the same day. It was supposed to arrive on the 25th, but no, the plane ended up arriving on the 26th, another day. So yeah, I was ending up able to get enough. I ended up. Oh my God! I was able to get enough sleep to be able to wake up the next morning pretty energized. So after we arrived at my house, my natural instinct is to unpack my bags and grab all the important stuff that I need from all the bags. I grabbed my deodorant and stuff and all that, and then I grabbed the candies I bought from Mexico. So then after I realized that there was a big package, and earlier like a few weeks ago, I did buy a large fan on eBay for about $50 because I need a new desk fan that could give me a good amount of air and give me some good airflow so I can feel nice and refreshed. And it was bigger than I intended it to be. It was like at least half the size of my PC itself because it's big. I mean, I am getting a good deal for $50 for a fan that has 4 modes, and it's pretty good. It's quiet in like the first mode, and it's not, I mean, it's loud on the last mode, but it's good, and it throws a good amount of air and stuff. But overall, that fan was good. So then after I unboxed it and stuff, I plugged it in to see if it worked. It worked very nicely, so I'm like, well, dang, I really got a good deal for this. So then after that, I I go on my bed and fall asleep because, I mean, I was exhausted of all the things that I had to deal with. And yeah, so there you have it, guys. That is the whole story of my trip to Mexico. There's the issues that happened, and there's mostly everything you guys need to know about what happened. Now that I'm back here in the US again, I will try to post at least a few videos a week. Not every week I'll post videos because that's just too much. I'll at least try to post at least 1 video a week or 2 videos every week, depending how busy I get. Although I am in summer break, my break is gonna end on August, so just note that starting August 6th, that's gonna be when I enter school again. I'll probably be limiting the amount of videos I post because I am now entering a grade that is more difficult, which will make things harder for me. So I will have to start making less videos and focus more on schoolwork. But this is not gonna mean that I'll stop making videos for a while. I'll still make a video like I'll still try to make every 2 videos every 2 weeks and such, but not just 2 videos every week because that's just too much. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this little explanation or story video, and I hope you guys liked it. If you did, please be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It supports me a lot, and all of the support goes into helping me to make more videos just like this one. Anyways, I hope you guys like the video and stuff, and hope you guys have a good rest of your day or night. As always, see ya.